Mishki here, joining the GL world to pitch my new podcast, which now comes out twice a week, Wednesdays and Fridays. The show features an extraordinary array of exotic circus performers, forgotten Hollywood starlets, reclusive Fortune 500 CEOs, professional taxidermists. Yep, wait a minute, that's a different promo. Where's the promo for GLers? Here it is. Let's try this again. Mishki here, pitching my new podcast. We're out of time? Could I do it again?
Aretha Franklin.
Don't make her leave before she even starts, Mike, okay?
Just don't measure us on that.
This is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Fratelloni and your host, Chris Reavers.
That's right. It's time for the Weekly Scramble podcast. My name is Chris Reavers. With me, as always, his name is Mike Fratelloni. Hello, Michael.
How you doing, Reavers?
I'm doing good. We have I think this is our very first in-studio guest. Normally, they're virtually or on the phone or whatever.
Very first in-studio guest.
Since we've been doing the Weekly Scramble podcast inside here, isn't it?
I don't know. Close.
Okay.
Wow. That actually kind of scares me. Are you being serious?
I don't know.
We've had Bartley in. The guys.
But those guys don't count. Those guys are friends of the show.
Maybe this is our first important in-studio guest.
Absolutely. Her name is Olivia King, and Olivia is a former Division I hockey player, and she has now turned media host, broadcaster, content creator. And I'm really excited to hear about your journey, Olivia. First of all, thank you so much for coming in studio for us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so walk us through. You're a big-time D-1 hockey player. At what point do you say, you know what? Media is what I want to do. Content is what I want to do. Because I'm always curious to get that kind of the side of the story from people.
Yeah, I don't know about big time, but I did my 4 years of undergrad at the U, and then I played my master's year, my 5th year at St. Thomas. I was honestly, all the way through, I was like, I'm going to be a lawyer. That's what I want to do.
Oh, wow.
I got my Master of Studies in Law when I was at St. Thomas. And even when I got done that year, like that's still what I wanted to do. I went and I worked in NCAA compliance that fall. And then Christmas rolled around and, I had a few conversations with the Gophers. And they were like, oh, we had a goalie that's hurt. Mm-hmm. Like, could you come back? And I was like, no, I'm retired.
Retired at 22 or whatever it is. Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm retired. I'm done. And then I thought about it for a little bit, and I was like, what's 2 more months of playoff hockey with my best friends? Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't I go back?
And did you have more school to accomplish then? I mean, did you just start taking something? Because technically you have to be enrolled, right?
Yes. Okay. So I took...
Bowling.
Yes.
Basically. Okay. I took like 2 classes, and they added a minor to my undergrad.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, which I didn't even know was possible after you close it.
Sure.
Like I graduated, and then I also graduated again because I had my master's.
Okay, wait, let me figure this out. 4 years with the Gophers, yes. Division I. The top, really, technically, at that point in time when you were playing, which was just a handful of years ago, there was no pro hockey here, really. So Division I women's hockey was as high as it got besides the what? The Olympics or what?
I mean, basically, the Olympics, there was 2 professional leagues.
Okay.
But... it was just really complicated, I feel like.
Sure.
And it wasn't really, those leagues were really not something that I would say a bunch of little girls were able to go and attend. Like, it was just 2 smaller leagues. And it made it so kind of weird.
Okay.
Because there was
you were
2
used
leagues.
To playing big time Division I, right?
Well, and so I feel like, yes, most girls or kids would aspire to have played Division I.
Sure.
That was kind of, me growing up, that's what I aspired to do. Or, I mean, when I was younger, like, aspired to play in the NHL, which
sure.
I thought was possible.
You thought it was possible.
Girl,
Maybe not quite yet. So you played 4 at the Gophers, which that's where I went to. Then somehow St. Thomas became Division I. They sent you a ton of NIL money and said, come on over here for 1 year. And you went and played there. You went. How do you have 6 years of college eligibility? Walk us through that real quick.
Yeah, so my sophomore year, I believe, was COVID year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, my freshman year, I redshirted.
Okay.
And so when I got done with my 4 years, I actually was kind of set on being done. Mm-hmm. I loved my career with the Gophers, and I was just happy with it.
Sure.
And then Coach Frost honestly kind of encouraged me to enter the portal a little bit. We had just had a conversation about it, and he was like, if you're just a little bit curious about it, you should. Like, why not?
Just to see what's out there.
And which I really appreciated from him because he was just trying to give me the best advice. Like, that's so nice for for a kid to hear at my age, I was kind of like, he trusts me enough to, you know, like say that to me, and he wants the best for me.
That sounds a lot like Lane Kiffin, what he would do for his players.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm making
for
a
sure.
joke because we've been talking about Lane Kiffin on this show for a long time.
Well, Mike was down at Ole Miss and just raved about it, and you were kind of upset.
My daughter's going to Ole Miss next year, and Lane Kiffin was the coach of their football team, and then he just did hot yoga and left the school in just a total lurch and screwed all of his players.
Well, you felt offended. You were because you are now connected to the program.
So now I'm pissed.
You felt jaded.
Now I forever will hate
you.
Lane Kiffin. Every time I say his name, I spit on the floor. It's kind of gross, but I do it.
Olivia, before we get to the social media aspect and all of those things and broadcasting and whatnot, I'm curious. You mentioned that you worked in NCAA compliance, and was that while you were still playing hockey? Before, after? What was that, and what was your role?
So that was in between me playing hockey, which is kind of weird. So when I got done with my 5th year at St. Thomas and I retired, I got that job and I was working with them, and I did like it. It was good. I just kind of realized I wasn't really a back of house person.
Sure.
I wanted to be able to really connect with other people, and I felt like in that job I wasn't really able to do that. And so when I went back to the Gophers, that's when I really started working in media and kind of focusing on my socials and focusing on learning how to edit and do all that stuff. And I was working with, and now I still do, I work with Gopher Digital Productions, which students can work with them and freelancers can work with them and do all kinds of things. I mean, they put on all the shows for, basketball, football, hockey, men's and women's, volleyball, and everything. So I got to see all the behind the scenes stuff, and I was like, I really like this part of sports.
Their digital production team is amazing. I was I took my 2 boys to the Thursday night before Labor Day Gopher game. I was fortunate enough to get the Hubbard tickets, and the halftime and post-game show that they put on was amazing.
Really?
It really was.
Yes.
It was something else. It was very cool.
It's so cool. They do such an amazing job. And I just met all those people, and they're wonderful. And I was like, this is so cool to see the team behind all the teams. And I was like, I want to be a part of this. And I want to be able to do this for the rest of my life. This is what I'm passionate about, is telling other people's stories and learning all the behind the scenes of players and doing all that stuff, because it is cool. And that's the true meaning of sports, is all of the behind the scenes stuff and how that affects people personally. And just moving into my podcast and, broadcasting the Gophers and just trying to build my career in all these different ways. It all leads back to just storytelling.
One other thing that she neglected to mention, that her job at NCAA compliance is then all of a sudden they realized there is no such thing as NCAA compliance. The moment NIL came out, they're like, I guess give that kid a Ferrari. I don't really care. Pay whatever you want to this player.
Well, even
Life's changed, right?
Even backtrack to the giant, as we call it, the Gopher scandal from 1998. I mean, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but what passed back then as a scandal would have been a slap on the wrist.
Well, let me ask this, because you have, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Reavers. You have quite the TikTok and Instagram following, right? So if you're listening to the Weekly Scramble today, go on to YouTube, watch our YouTube. They can see who you are, right? And you have quite a following. Did any of your teammates use their following to get NIL money? I mean, you look at the girls that are playing basketball that are making millions of dollars in college. Does that work at the University of Minnesota? Does anybody earn big-time NIL in girls' sports at the U?
I would say people earn money, but they don't earn big-time money.
Okay.
Especially in hockey, I think it's just growing. I do know that, the girls who are playing college but also playing on the national team level, Olympic level, obviously those girls do make quite a bit of money. Yeah.
Sponsorships, NIL, all that stuff. Okay.
Yes. Right. It just depends on who you are and kind of how willing you are to post on socials, or it either depends on, you honestly don't have to be the best player. If you're really active on your socials, you can make a lot of money. Yeah. Or if you're the best player, even if you're not super active on your socials, you can make a lot of money because people are going to look at your stuff no matter what.
Well,
you're
look
a great player.
Look at how different it was just in the landscape. I remember talking to Lindsay Whalen about this maybe 10 years ago or so, and all of those the women that were playing in the WNBA, they'd have to spend their off season going overseas to play because NIL wasn't an option, and social media had a presence presence, but it didn't have the
They were
presence it does today.
making way more in college than they were playing professional basketball.
For
right?
sure. But
Yeah.
I mean, they would have to go overseas and play in Spain or whatever, and they were making 5 times
Or
the
Russia,
amount of money.
and bring some drugs in.
Well, no,
and
they
then
didn't
be
want
in a
to do
Russian jail
that.
for a while.
but it's just how different of a landscape it was, and it just doesn't even seem like it was that long ago. But anyway.
Times absolutely have changed. You got to take a break. I know that. We have to do a We Are Nuts, don't we?
Well, we have to talk about We Are Nuts and wearenutsmn.com as I try to fight through this cough that I'm about to have. But you know what? You've heard about them at your Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores locations, Max Hardware locations. They're also available at Lunds and Byerly's, Kowalski's Markets, now available at all Cub Foods locations and also Quick Trip. They are a wonderful family-owned operation making small hand-batch snacks right here in the great state of Minnesota, North Minneapolis, by the way. And you can go to their website, too, by the way, wearenutsmn.com, and you can place your order just in time for the holiday season. We're gathering, we're eating, that's what we're doing, and We Are Nuts and wearenutsmn.com is here for you, your family, and all of your holiday celebrations, and we thank them very much for their sponsorship in the Weekly Scramble. We will be right back.
We'll get to some national, international stuff in a minute. Before we do, I got to tell you about something. Boy, I love it. We've had it in my house now for, I think, about 3 months. And it makes a great Christmas gift. You might be one of those people, you put off your Christmas shopping to the last minute, end up maybe buying a gift card. Well, this year, I can take care of that issue for you. Get yourself an Aura frame. My wife and I took our favorite photos and videos, loaded them all into the new Aura frame. Right now, that's about 750 items, and I guarantee we're going to have a lot of new pictures to add once this Christmas season is over. And it's really, really easy to use.
John, can you download them from your phone?
Just from your phone, exactly. So I had all those pictures on my phone. I got the Aura frame, and I just started hitting boom, boom, boom.
Yes,
After,
yes.
all you have to do is download the Aura app and connect it to Wi-Fi and start adding pictures. It's really easy to use. Chris, if I may use your favorite word, it literally took just a couple of minutes to set it up.
I know someone that just recently purchased this, and that person is so thrilled and really thinks that person has cheated Christmas because it's such a wonderful gift that there's no more worry.
I've taken care of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't name you, but okay.
The other thing is, it's, we've all had picture frames in the past, and they're kind of weird, cloudy, not great. It looks like the actual photos in front of you. The screen is gorgeous. It's perfect. It's easy to do. For a limited time, you can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off of Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames, named #1 by Wirecutter. All you have to do is use the promo code GL at checkout. That's AURAFrames.com, promo code GL. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. You can wrap togetherness, but you can't frame it. Aura Frames.
Hey.
Wherever you go, whatever they get into, from chill time to everyday adventures, protect your dog from parasites with Credelio Quattro. For full safety information, side effects, and warnings, visit CredeliaQuattroLabel.com. Consult your vet or call 1-888-545-5973. Ask your vet for Credelio Quattro and visit QuattroDog.com.
All right, we're here in studio with Olivia King. It's Reavers, it's Fratelloni. So I want to ask you, Olivia, broadcasting, how comfortable or how long have you been doing it, #1, and are you getting more comfortable behind the mic? Because I always ask that with people, because I remember the first time I ever cracked a microphone in the Twin Cities market, and I was petrified.
I'd imagine.
Now you can't get me to shut up. So I'm just curious, walk us through that transition.
How'd you
in your
get that
life.
job?
Okay, so this all leads back, I feel like, to last winter. Last winter, I was asked to do Hockey Day Minnesota for my high school, just do color for them because they were playing in it in the
And your
Twin
high school was
Cities.
Brainerd High or whatever.
Yeah,
Where'd you go?
In Brainerd.
In Brainerd, okay.
And they were playing in Hockey Day at Valley Fair.
Oh, no
And-
way. I remember driving by that. That's
yes,
so cool.
it was so cool. And and I was like, absolutely. Like, I want to do that. I've never done
Right
that
under
before.
the wild thing, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, it was freezing
Okay,
too.
yeah.
Like, it was a late game and I was freezing. I hate being cold, which is crazy for a hockey player to say.
Especially one from Brainerd.
Sure.
Yes, exactly. So I did that game and I left. It was late. It was cold. We'd been outside. We were broadcasting outside, like just in the bleachers.
All day.
And I was like, I absolutely love that. It was something that I was excited about again.
And you were doing color, right? You were
Yes.
Okay.
And so that's when I got in touch with the Gopher Digital Production. And then I did, the first Gopher game I did was them doing their field trip game at Mariucci this year. And it was so, so fun. And it honestly it's easy for me. I mean, it's a program that gave me so much and I know so much about
Do you
it.
still know all the girls?
And I know all the girls are, most of them are really, really close friends still. So it was just like, I was like, this is easy. And it's like talking about my friends.
You know what she said? She's like, Sarah missed that shot because she just broke up with her boyfriend, Jacob. He's a real a-hole. He cheated on her with Steven.
That is some deep insight for Hockey Day, Minnesota.
That is color commentary.
It'd be like late night color commentary.
Yeah, that would be like, oh, she got so drunk the other night. There's no way she's going to make that shot.
I had no
Hammered.
idea we were going down this road. Do you know I had pushed for my boss to say because you're always trying to find an angle, right? You're always trying to, this is years ago. I said we should do some type of off-color secondary option. I'm not joking.
There you go.
So it's us having beers talking about the Vikings game. The problem is you walk into the world of copyright issues.
Sure,
and
you
things
can't
like
really
that.
show the Vikings game while you're doing
I can't believe he just threw that.
Yeah,
It's things
yeah.
like that. So
Well, that's what Eli Manning's. That's what the Mannings are doing.
that's exactly
right?
what it was.
Yeah.
That was my idea, but they obviously are
Well,
more
I invented
popular.
Facebook too, but I never really got around to it. So it didn't work. So you get this job doing color. Have you ever said during a Gophers game, Gophers girls games, right? These are big time games, big time productions. Have you ever said something and said, "Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that"? Like, do you ever have that?
Well,
because there is no bleep button, right?
Yeah. That's the thing where it's like they are my friends. So sometimes if I'm being critical after the game, I'll be like, oh, maybe was I a little too harsh? I hope she doesn't listen to that, like when they're watching video or something.
I mean,
But honestly, no.
No.
I mean, it's just hockey to me.
Well, you have a job to do. Yeah.
exactly. So I'm just watching hockey, but that's just, I just really fell in love with it. It was so fun, and it's nice to have something to work towards again and practice at. And it's something that I wasn't really good at right away, and I'm still working on. And that's what I like about it. I mean, my dad called me after my first Gopher game, and he was like, you should have done this. You should have said this. And it was just like I was transported back to me playing again.
oh, really?
And-
oh, good. She's got a dad like you are, reverse to your kids.
I know.
Your grip was wrong. You're stupid.
Come on, quit looping that swing.
What? You don't even care. Looks like you don't care. Okay. So,
No, exactly. He's like, you need to practice this.
Oh, that's
and
funny.
I told him, I was like, give me 5 minutes to be happy for myself, Dad.
Yeah.
And I'll call you back, and then we can talk about what I need to practice.
I will tell you the toughest thing to learn, especially, I've done just a tiny amount of play-by-play or PA announcing for baseball because that's my jam. But the hardest thing to learn is that brevity and silence is okay. Let a moment breathe. It's okay. Not every single. There's guys I work with in the studio sometimes that need to learn that brevity is okay and silence is okay. But that's the thing, and that's hard. That's hard when you're training yourself how to set a scene or how to paint a picture. That it's okay that there's silence once in a while.
So your co-host who's that? And he must be great, or she must be great.
Yeah, he's great. His name's Dan, and he's
Dan
been
Hammond, right?
Yep,
Yep.
and he's been doing it. Oh my gosh, like over 15 years for the Gopher women's
So he doesn't
team.
say like she hits it to one girl, the other girl skates up and it passes it to another. That's what I would do. Oh, the
No.
puck's across that line that looks blue, and then so he's much more skilled at it than
Yeah,
that.
he's
Okay.
wonderful. He does play-by-play, and he travels with them to every game. And
You gonna start doing that? Why aren't you doing that?
I don't know. But
Do they have color when you're not
Friday,
there?
No, not for away games. They just do
the hell?
play-by-play.
The hell, you gotta flex that.
But Friday I'm doing away game technically because it's
In
St.
St.
Thomas.
Thomas?
Olivia, now that I'm kind of
So-
your pseudo agent, knowing what you need to say when he says something like that, well, we could use a sponsor. So how
Oh,
about Fred
that's-
Loading's
oh,
Hardware
yeah.
Garden Stores?
Yeah, that's how it
sponsors
works.
the
It's always about the
I
sponsors with the
heard,
Gophers.
yeah, I heard that you guys were interested.
Yeah, yes.
I got you.
So
I
you're
got
doing
you.
you're doing a couple big games this weekend. 2 fun games because it's strangely you're going to be broadcasting for 2 teams that you've played for. How's that going to work?
Exactly. So I'm going to try my best to be neutral technically, I think I'm supposed to be like Gopher sided.
Well, yeah, they're the ones
Obviously,
paying
because it's
you. Yeah.
Gopher broadcasting.
Yep.
But I'm kind of an underdog person, so like I'm not gonna say any more than that. But
What happens if St. Thomas takes one of these games?
honestly, okay, so
That would be weird.
I don't even think it would. Well, okay, it would be because I mean Gophers are top 3 this year, and I mean they've been top 3 for years and years and years. But St. Thomas is really good this year, and I mean they've taken number 1 Wisconsin to overtime.
Wow.
And they've taken number 2 Ohio State to overtime. So this is the first time they're meeting with the Gophers this year. And it's the last series before Christmas break, before they have like a month off. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if they take one or for sure take one game into overtime or
Split
or whatever that may look like. But I guess we'll see. But I'm honestly really excited because it's so cool to see the Tommies like really moving up in the world, especially with the new rink.
So, hold on. They're playing in the new Anderson Arena, right?
Yes, on Friday.
And women's are playing in Ritter.
Saturday.
On Saturday. So they're playing in a better rink. Tommy's normally playing a better rink than the Gophers play. Isn't the new rink at St. Thomas better than Ritter?
I mean, I would say, I don't know. I guess
it's a pretty beautiful place.
It's a beautiful place. I will say, like, I love it. And it's so nice that they do now have their own space. But I feel like they're just great in their own ways. Like, Ritter has so much history. And that program is such a legacy program. I mean, you go in there and there's banners everywhere. There's, like Olympians all over the walls, all Americans all over the walls. And, St. Thomas has more of like a new charm to it. And it's kind of like, in some ways, like an empty building that they're like waiting to fill with, like the banners and waiting to fill with names and all Americans and stuff like that.
They're going to do it too.
Oh, and they will do it.
They will do it,
And just like, I mean, we were talking, their opening weekend in that rink, we had a lot of alumni there, and we were all talking, and we were all saying, like, the Tommies will win a national championship 100% in the next 5-8 years.
I'm glad you said that
Wow.
because not to bring the men's side of sports into this, but I follow I went to Mankato, and so I follow their hockey programs pretty close.
College ball there. He too is an athlete.
Let's settle down there. In any event, but I had said, because I was talking to a buddy of mine that still lives in Mankato and said, well, St. Thomas is going to take all our recruits and blah, 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 blah. And I said, I think what's going to end up happening, and I could be way off base, but I think what's going to end up happening is St. Thomas is going to build such a strong program, it's just going to strengthen the area, because the kid that maybe was here that instead of going to BU or Boston College or whatever is going to say, why would I do that when I can stay home, right? Still play really good, solid Division I hockey. I think that's what's going to benefit more than anything else. That this area, I mean, look at this. You've got 4 Division I programs within 2 hours of each other,
And
right?
competitive Division
and
I
very
programs,
good and
right?
competitive programs. I think St. Thomas is just going to add to that, to be honest with you.
100%. And I was talking, so this week I had Julia Minotti on my podcast, and she is the St. Thomas women's goalie. She's a 4th-year transfer from Clarkson. And I was saying to her the same exact things. I was like, you go and visit St. Thomas. It is a beautiful private campus now with a rink that's walkable. And it's in a safe area, like a family neighborhood within a huge city. I was like, there are so many benefits and pluses to going to St. Thomas. You get a wonderful private school education. If any parent took their daughter on a visit here, compared to some of the other places, they would say, this place is super safe. You're going to get a great education, beautiful new rink, and the coaching staff is wonderful. Like, you're going here.
Yeah.
Well, and not to mention too with the transfer portal. I mean, a kid that's playing at Clarksville or someone that's playing at one of these lesser D1 schools is going to get noticed that maybe got overlooked through the recruiting process in high school, and is going to get the opportunity to say, well, heck, I can just go to St. Thomas, the U, Mankato, whatever. And that opportunity did not exist 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
No, but I think the same could be said about Golden Gophers, right? You have the legacy, you have a huge school. Not everybody wants a big school. I get that. But a whole bunch of people do, right? Were you one of them, or were you saying, did you get more Division I offers besides the U?
No, I had kind of a crazy story. So I played high school hockey in Brainerd, obviously. I was like a hometown girl through and through. I grew up in Garrison, Minnesota, 200 people. My family owned a bait store my whole life. I always wanted to play college hockey, but it just was tough. Like, we just had a lot of family stuff going on. I didn't really think it was possible for me. And then we went to the state tournament my senior year, and the Gophers called me up a few weeks later. We went to the state championship game, and I was, lucky enough to get a call from them and a few other programs at that point, but I was a few weeks away from graduating.
Sure, you needed to pick.
Yeah,
right?
and they called me up. I was in the Target parking lot, and I put it on mute, and I started bawling my eyes out.
Oh, what a great story.
And they were like, Kinger, are you still there? And I took it off mute, and I was like, yeah, well, yes.
Yeah.
Well, come on a visit.
I'll take it.
And I
won't do one of those signing things where I wear a different hat and I'll come in. Send me the DocuSign. I'll do it now. Yeah.
Basically. And I went on a visit, and my dad, it was like one of the only visits my dad came on with me. And we left, and my dad's a very quiet man. And he just said, he was like, would you consider going here? And I said, I'm going here.
Yeah. I
absolutely I will call
them
them right now and tell them I'm going here. And he's like, you'd be crazy not to.
Oh, that's so
How far into that walk were you when you knew?
Did you even get out of the car? 5 steps out the door. Like a Ritter. I was
That's
5
funny.
steps. And so that's like the funniest thing. And all I wanted growing up was to go to the big city and to live here and to think how different my life is now compared to, like growing up. And it's nice because it's like all the things I feel like I wished for. I got to play college hockey, when I never thought I could for 6 years. And then now, I get to pursue so many different dreams and, tell other people's stories and give them an avenue and a platform to do that. And that's what I absolutely love to do. So.
It sounds like a Hallmark movie, right? She left small. She's going to go back to Garrison and see her high school sweetheart, Jimmy. And she's going to say, shit, I'm stuck now in Garrison again. We'll see her in 4 years. She'll have 4 kids.
Well, I do want to get to your podcast, but I'm curious because you mentioned that what had the U of M not called? What was your plan?
That's honestly
St. Cloud State right there, or what?
I think part of me was like, I'll go to college maybe. I mean, I might have went to UND. I feel like I had a lot of friends who went to UND.
You walked on, right? Maybe.
Yeah, like at that point, I just was kind of like, I'll just be done with hockey, and I think that's why my senior year of hockey and that team, like we all just did so well because we were just like, let's just throw our hat in the ring and have fun. And we had such an amazing year as a team and a program, really. So that was so fun and exciting, and that just was something where I was like, well, maybe I'll just start to choose joy and have fun playing hockey again.
That's cool.
And that was such a blessing to my life. I mean, and then when the coaches called me, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then that's actually why I went to St. Thomas, because Coach Johnson at that time and Coach Bethany Browson, who is now St. Thomas's head coach, they were coaching with Coach Frost at the U.
Okay.
And they were had helped recruit me to the U.
Do you think Frost called them up and said, take her? Because if he was okay with you going to the portal, which is a big deal, I wouldn't want to put a goalie, first of all, a goalie is a very important position, in the portal and have her go to a school that we're going to play.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I could have went to, a few other teams in the WCHA. So it was cool because I really didn't have, I had the choice to kind of pick. And I was like, this is kind of cool because, I was a little bit older and a little bit more mature and
experienced.
Yeah, ready to make that decision for myself. And so, when they did call me, it was just a familiar face again. And I was like, I'd love to be a part of a program, that gave me a chance initially when I was just some girl from Brainerd that they didn't know.
Sure.
I do want to get to. Are you good on time? Because I got to do.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about our friends at Harmony Spirits down there in beautiful Harmony, Minnesota. You know what? It's the holiday season, and give the gift of booze to all of your friends with Harmony Spirits. It's handcrafted spirits made right here in our backyard in Harmony, Minnesota. It's Larry, it's Damon, it's the entire crew. If you're down in that area, by the way, stop in and say hi. I got to get some of that caramel apple rum because that just sounds fantastic. But it doesn't matter. Vodka, gin, whiskey. All sorts of great products are available, but please do us a favor. Go into your local liquor store and continue to ask for the Harmony brand by name. The consumer has tremendous buying power. Michael.
Not to mention, you can bring a bottle of white wine. No one's ever going to care about that.
Right.
I mean, they're going to like it.
Sure.
It's a nice thing to do. You bring a bottle of Harmony Spirits. First of all, you don't normally drink a bottle in one sitting.
It's a conversation starter.
It's going to sit there at their house. You're going to be able to come back and say, do you have any more of that Harmony that I gave you? They're like, yeah, but it's almost gone. They're like, whatever. I still get some. A bottle of wine is gone that night. Right.
But you can also go onto their Facebook page, Harmony Spirits Distillery. They do a fantastic job of updating for live events and all sorts of things. They're fantastic people. They've been proud supporters of our show here for a number of years, and we'd appreciate your support of them as well. Once again, harmonyspirits.net is their website. Please let them know that you heard about them right here on the Weekly Scramble podcast. We will be right back.
For a limited time, you can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off of Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames named #1 by Wirecutter. All you have to do is use the promo code GL at checkout. That's AURAFrames.com, promo code GL. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. You can wrap togetherness, but you can't frame it. Aura Frames.
Hey. All right, we are I thought we were going to get to the podcast here in a minute, but Olivia King is here with us. It's Reavers, it's Fratelloni. I want to talk to you about both your podcast, your YouTube channel, and all that stuff. What is your style when you approach an interview on your podcast, Olivia?
That's a good question. I feel like I'm still trying to figure it out. And I think sometimes it just depends on my guest. Mm-hmm. If I know them personally or if it's kind of like the first time of meeting them. But basically why I started it was because obviously I love hockey and I love goalie.
Yeah, it is kind of a niche podcast.
Yes.
Right? Talk Goalie to me. That kind of narrows it down to people who've played goalie or played hockey, right?
I got to tell you, I love the name. I think the name is great, seriously.
It's totally great. Yeah. It is niche, right?
Yes, it is. And I like that about it because it's something that, goalie is something that I have been super passionate about. Obviously, I love hockey, but it was always goalie that really drew me to the game, whether it be gear or, the stories. It's like in hockey, goalie is the quarterback of the team.
Yep.
And as a goalie, maybe like I'm just saying that. But
yeah, because I'm sure some forwards saying, no, that's not true.
No,
yeah,
that's not true.
Yeah.
But that's how I see it. And I think goalies are really weird and quirky. And I like that too, because it's just kind of a fun, it's like trying to bring that out of people is fun and funny. And I'm working on that as well. Like just becoming a better interviewer. And I like that about it. It's just, just like my broadcasting, it's something I can always improve on. And giving people, like I said, giving people a platform to tell their story too. I really like that because, that's something maybe, I would have wished I could have done at the college level or whatever, just so it can appeal to, kids who love hockey, not even just goalies. Kids who love hockey, trying to get into goalie, appeal to goalies that are still playing, who just like to hear from peers, or, older retired goalies who really know what they're talking about, or, parents or something who are trying to learn about goalie because their kid wants to try it, or they're just starting to get into it and they want to learn more about maybe even if it's just goalie gear.
So if I listen to your podcast, could you guarantee a Division I scholarship for my kid if I put him on some goalie?
God.
Honestly, maybe I could guarantee a Division I scholarship for you.
Okay, that would be, see, that's not that bad because I'm an old man to get it. I think I have eligibility still. I think that's pretty good. It is really, I listened to some of your podcasts. I thought it was great. And I think it's cool that being a collegiate athlete and everything's different now, right? Because you can make real money being a Division I college athlete with social media, podcasting, broadcasting. Do you see your career more as a content creator now or a broadcast entertainer? What do you think it's going to be?
I would say, honestly, I just like to create content in like any way possible. So even with my broadcasting, like I'm still creating content because I'm a part of a bigger team that is putting on a show. And that's what I also like about my own channels. Like I'm able to create content that tells a story. And I love working with brands who have such a rich story, especially like in Minnesota and in the Twin Cities, because that's what I grew up. I grew up in, a family-owned business where it was, like I watched my parents, my dad worked super hard for that business. And so I just think it's so cool that I'm able to do that too on my own channels and support those people and them support me. And I love that. And so I would say just like all around, it's all about like content creation and like marketing and stuff like that. I love being creative and not, like putting myself in a box.
Sure,
almost.
you don't have to do just one.
And I can help you with that too, because I've noticed just, I've been in broadcasting now for, too long, 20 plus years now. And what's always interesting is it never ceases to amaze me how you can separate yourself just simply with one thing, and that's a work ethic. Because there's so many people that, I'm going to just cite us here at Hubbard Broadcasting as an example. We'll hire an intern and they think, well, when do I get to go on the air? And then, well, that's not really how it works. And then 75% of those kids don't want to do the little things to work their way up.
I'm a perfect example of that, Reavers.
Well, but you're different. But
I spent 10 years here at a show till I finally got a badge to come in the building. Someone would have to check me in. It took me 10 years to get a badge.
But so much of that is lost where they think that, you're talking about creating content, but you grew up in an environment where you had to work your butt off in order to make it work, right? And that's the thing I think gets lost on a certain fabric of our society where they just think it's expected. It'll just happen for me. Well, no, you have to go out and achieve it. That's really how you're going to be able to find those. I mean, you've already built a gigantic platform, Olivia, with your social media following, but also with your podcast. And I think that's just a lost art in this particular industry, personally.
Well, thank you. I think sometimes it's funny because I do meet people who are like, how can you balance like all those different things? And to me, it never feels like work. I really do love it. And yes, I'm busy and doing all these things, and I'm everywhere, and sometimes people are like, this is exhausting just to watch your life sometimes, but I love it, and I'm very lucky, and I'm so blessed to have the opportunities that I do get, and I'm very thankful for that. And so I think that's just like why it is working too, because like I wished and hoped and have been trying to really put the work in to make it work. Because I did, take a big risk with choosing a profession that is different than most people. And a lot of people, they don't really understand. So, which is fine. I think I like that because it's like
your
a little
age
bit
kid
interesting.
Does. Your age person does.
Yes.
Guys like me, I'm like, oh my God, how do you make money as a content creator? Like we have a fairly big social following, with the frat pack, we got some, but we don't make money from our social following. Well, you do. And that's granted, we're two totally different things, right? I get why you would make money and why we wouldn't. But it's really interesting. When I talk to my kids, I have 3 daughters younger than you, and they don't experience any normal media. They only experience TikTok. They only experience Snapchat. That is their channel 4, 5, 9, and 11, and Fox Sports. That's it, is through TikTok.
Yep.
Hours a day, right? So, in fact, I said I was going to interview you, and my daughter was like, I know her. Like, it comes into my feed all the time. She comes into my feed. I don't know if she follows you or not, right? But you just show up in her feed enough because you're from Minnesota and you're an athlete and so on. And I think, oh, that's so interesting. And then I thought, what do I have to do? And what do I have to start posting to make me famous on social media?
Mike, please don't post bikini pics. I don't want to see it. I love you to death. I don't want to see those.
Off-shirt pics are going to work for me. I just have that strange feeling.
I will say, it is so funny because the best way I put it when I'm talking to people, like my grandparents or, people of an older generation who is sometimes, I get the like, when are you going to get a real job? And I'm like, that's so fair because you don't really understand. But the social media is the new form of marketing.
Oh, it sure is.
So like the best way to put it is you have 5 people in a car. And there's one driver, one person in the passenger seat, 3 people in the back. And you're driving, you're on a road trip, and you see a billboard. Well, the 4 other people in a car are looking at their phone.
Yep.
And then the driver, they might be looking at their phone too.
Sadly.
So unfortunately, like most people are not consuming traditional media in the way that they once were. And so that's where social media comes into play. And why social media marketing is becoming so huge and why like user-generated content and all those different things, there's so many different analytics to social media, why that is becoming huge as well. And it is a different market. It's a different profession. And I'm still like just learning about it as well. Doing it and learning all of the different pieces to it, but it's interesting. And I think it's interesting, to teach people about it as well, because you are reaching a huge market. I mean, your daughter, like if she's, even if somebody doesn't follow me, they still might see my stuff because it's in the Twin Cities, it's in Minnesota, and
she fits that algorithm or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is what's interesting about it. Like you might go look at my followers and say, oh, you're not as big as whoever. But, we look at like my analytics and it's spanning like all of Minnesota. And so that's what I think is
You'd rather have
interesting.
dedicated followers than smaller amount of dedicated followers is much stronger than 400 million followers and no one's paying attention.
Or like a niche, you know, like if you're like talking about Minnesota, that all those Minnesota people who use that platform, have the opportunity to see it.
Sure.
The analogy I've always made about this is the one that when I was back in music radio a long time ago, and how the music industry and all of these legacy brands, whether it was, name your label, right? They all fought against online production of music. And I thought this is the dumbest fight you're ever going to fight against, where you're trying to sue people for sharing songs online. They're sharing your content. And that I'd always said was the biggest mistake the music industry, instead of embracing it with things like, Apple and whatnot, they all fought against it. And the same thing is happening now with all of these legacy media outlets, whether, pick your 4 major networks or whatever, they're all facing this new harsh reality where the people that are Olivia's age, they aren't consuming news the same way that I might be consuming news. And I don't even consume news the same way I did 10 years ago. And that's the same kind of thing that these people are all struggling with. And what they're ultimately going to find is that they're going to have to cave in, much like the music industry did 20 years ago, because the same fight's happening right now.
That's why we're on YouTube. That's why this show's on YouTube, Reavers, right?
Well, I mean, look at us. We used to be a radio show. We used to be an AM radio show. We converted. Why? Because we had the support of people behind us that thought, let's give this a shot and see what happens.
What was interesting about that, too, as when we were a radio show, you can't really measure radio, but podcasts you can. So when we moved from radio, the Weekly Scramble and Garage Logic moved from radio to podcast, we actually saw how many people were engaged with our show. And it was way different than what we thought it was on radio. Because you just don't really know, right?
Yeah.
So the way that radio did it, and Reavers can correct me, is you had like this little book, and someone said, at 4 o'clock on Tuesday, what radio station were you listening to? And someone said, KQ. Or, I mean, they literally wrote it down, right?
Yep.
And it was just... like if you really loved KQ, but you weren't actually listening to KQ, you still wrote KQ down. So it was not accurate at all. And we knew specifically that the Garage Logic podcast had a ton of listeners, because you couldn't take Joe out of the studio or Reavers out of the studio and not have people say, "Hey, you're Reavers," or hey, just the community knew him. The moment we went to podcast, we're like, oh, thousands of people are listening to us. Not hundreds, not some thousands, tens and hundreds of thousands. And like, well, that's a big damn difference, right?
Yeah.
And then you can market that and sell that in a totally different way, because you're guaranteeing listeners, not what radio was, right?
Yeah.
Am I saying that right, Reavers?
You are, and I think the other thing too is discovery. Because the Garage Logic audience skews a little bit older, and we'll still get an email once a week that says, "Oh, I can't believe I found you guys. You've been off the air for whatever." Well, we've been here, but I guess that's the thing too. It's just you used that word earlier, Olivia, the adapting, right? And that's I think a big thing because people that are on the younger side of between 18 and 30, they have no problem adapting. It's getting that other audience, which, by the way, is going to be just as dedicated, is going to be just as we mentioned algorithms. They're going to be just as much in tune with that. It's finding those people, and that's the thing too. Like you're building your podcast platform. That's going to be the same thing for you, is finding those people that are searching for that content. Yeah,
Exactly.
Very cool. Very cool. I know, Reavers, one thing, Reavers.
What's that, Mike?
What do you call a Christmas wreath made of $100 bills?
Mike, I don't know what I call a Christmas wreath made of $100 bills.
Aretha Franklin.
Oh, boy.
Reavers, you are the best.
Olivia, where can they find all of your work, social media, your podcast platform, your YouTube channel, all of that stuff? I forgot to allow you the chance to plug that as well.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Olivia Kristen King, and then
you're not an old person like me and still on Twitter.
I have X, but it's
What
Olivia
about
King
Facebook?
01. I have Facebook, but It's usually for fam.
Okay.
I was gonna say,
That's right.
stay in touch with
You
your
got to keep
family.
My
some of your
grandma.
socials on the side. So Olivia Kristen King.
Yes,
We'll put that
Kristen.
in the show notes too.
Yeah, for sure.
And then my podcast, you can find YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever. And then I actually have an Instagram page for that as well. It's just Talk Goalie to me. So yeah, it's linked on my personal page, so you can go there and find it as well.
This was a treat. Thanks so much for coming. It was nice to meet you.
Thank you guys. It was a blast.
You
Thank
bet.
you, Olivia.
Please do us a favor, rate and review the show wherever you happen to be listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. It helps other people find the show. It helps us out as well, and we appreciate each and every single one of you. That's Mike Fredoloni. My name is Chris Reavers. Thank you so very much for listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. We'll talk to you again next time. Until then, cheers.